Hey, how y'all doing? Let's do it to it. Alright. Huh. That was kind of weird. Hey, how you doing? That's good to hear. Hmm. Oh, darn, I should have seen that. Well, yeah, I feel a little better. uh, a tiny bit better. But it's one of those things that kind of sicknesses that's going to be with you just a little bit longer. But I don't feel bad. I just have kind of a hoarse voice a little bit. So it takes there. And then, then queen takes. Oh, should have seen that. So it takes here, gets rid of the protection of the queen, and you win the queen. Okay. Alright. Yeah, some of these are tricky. So let's give it another shot. Yeah, there we go. Okie dokie. Went to piece there. Fork. Let me see here. Mate. Mate. That wins a rook. That's your two rooks. That's a check. And then checkmate. This actually picks up a rook in the corner. Let's see here. Do, da, 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 da. Yeah. You're up a whole minor piece or exchange. Let me see here. So take there. We got a fork. Okie dokie. Okay, that wins a queen. That wins a queen. So does this win a bishop? Yeah. I think this actually mates in 3. That picks up a rook, which a rook and king gets 2 pawns, has it advanced enough, so we're good. So king takes. This threatens mate and actually wins a piece, so that was a mistake on their part. Let me see here. I think that actually picks up a queen, yeah. Let me see here. Try to figure out if check there, here. Thinking that's it, yeah. And then that actually picks up a queen. This picks up a queen as well. I think we could just win and then come over here and then we hold at that point. Yeah, so let me see here. Um, Let me see. What are we missing here? Yeah, rook takes bishop and then check. Okay. Let me see. Takes here, there. Drat. That's not good. What did I miss here? Excuse me. What did I overlook? Is it this check here? Okay. This is an interesting one. I want to see. Well, yeah, I do it sometimes just to get warmed up for our studies. I'm trying to improve on my speed of spotting tactics. So let me see here. So here, there. If king comes up, that's the reason. You pick up a pawn here. When he comes there, you can actually play rook takes, and it's mate. And it's either mate here and there, or no, sorry, mate here or there, and then there after the king moves. Or you could play there and then mate on g7. That's an interesting idea as well. Yeah, I just had to take a look at that. That one was an interesting one, to say the least. Oops, let me see here. Let's do this one. I think I remember this one. I think it's actually takes here, and then you push up the board, you grab the pawn there, and after takes, what you're going to basically do is he's going to come over here to take, you're going to come up, he's going to come down, you're going to come up, come over, come up, takes, back, takes, push, 1, 1, 1, 1. Oh, so yikes, that doesn't work. You might have to somewhat would you be able to maybe after takes here you can challenge him with here if he comes down there. I want to see if this is actually a winning endgame. After this here, I just want to see kind of after takes and then king takes. So king d4, that's right. Okay. King f5. So king c3, g6, b, takes. Well, let me see, is it takes? Yes, takes. King g5. So a4. If takes there. b3. There. And it stops him from queening. It stops the queenie square, so when he goes there, you just come there and pick it up. Interesting, I gotta remember that. Because I think this back here, if he took, I think it's actually winning for so a2. Okay, you're still winning. Okay. But you have to get out and make sure you can't queen the A pawn. You can't queen the A pawn, you have to queen the B pawn, otherwise it'll get taken. I'll show you why. If you played this here, the queen guards the queenie square, and there's no way to queen. I'm sure if they're king f4, queen's king e4, e2. Yeah, it's over at that point. So we'll start into our lessons now. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Let's see here. Double rooks. So they already castled, so there's no. Let's enlarge this, and then we'll put the players in. The first move to occur in the Sicilian beating masters to is obviously what move for white? White to play and exclaim. So if you're watching this and it's on recording, or if you're watching it now, then put in what you think it is, and we'll see if you are on the right track. Okay, if you're just now turning it back on, then the correct move is bishop. How's bishop takes? Bishop f3. What? Oh, bishop f3. Ah, silly me. Exclaim. Remember, this is a very similar setup to what actually happened with Gary and Anon. Excuse me, let me get a drink of water. Maybe that'll. Maybe tiny bit better, not as froggy. The game was decided by B takes C, Queen takes H5, exclaim. Excuse me. Okay. Bishop takes G5 was played by white. But if pawn takes here, then queen takes. This leads to an unstoppable mate. If they play here, we actually can play check, 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 and then checkmate. There's no way to stop it. There's even, I think, a faster mating idea. Check, check, and then check. I think it's the same. Yeah, it's one move faster. So black tried to counter gambit back, or counter gift back the piece. Black kept the game going with takes and then queen takes. Queen d8 to trade off. Queen to h6. This is the wibble wobble in. And then probably more likely the queen's gonna have to go to f6 to guard. Yeah, that's kind of forced. Oh no, they didn't do that. Interesting. Pawn takes c2. Wow. Rook f1. Queen f6. And then you have bishop to c3. This attacks the queen, and basically the game's over at this point. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I'll give it my best. It's a Russian word. It's pryoms. It's pryoms. Pryoms and pawn structures are intimately related. Basically, they're tied. They're tied together. So pawn structures are tied together to this type of a peryoroma. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. So when I say that word, you're gonna have to know it's pryoms, because I don't know how to pronounce that word. And changing the pawn structure as white with g4 and g5 will make little sense unless you know that word and that it is. I think it's appreciate. It is the appearance that you're wanting. A change in structure also lacks point if you don't have the pieces to make that word that I don't know how to pronounce work. Sometimes a pawn advance or a capture can be a brilliant move or a positional blunder depending on whether you can carry out that word. And the example is right here. There's a excuse me. I'm sorry about coughing in the mic. I apologize about that. This is an interesting game that emphasizes what we're talking about. Kramnik's black, and then it's like P dot space Nikolic versus Kramnik. We'll get this set up. Okay, we have the king. Let's get the two knights. It's black to move. So there's no reason for castling because they already castled. So let's put in the players, and hopefully maybe they have this already. There's a yep, there is. But this time that player is white and Kramnik is black. And we're looking at it from black's perspective. Okay. I think, didn't I put it on black's perspective? There we go. There we go. White is preparing the familiar type of attack to play b4 to b5. That's what white wants to do, followed by b takes c6. So white wants to play this move here and then take, and after black retakes back, excuse me, after black retakes back, there will be a weakness on a5 or a4 that can be a target for white. And that's kind of what white's trying to get. Black stops that plan in the most direct way with b5, pawn b5. Pawn b5 exclam is a really strong move. I know you spotted that. Excuse me, is really strong. b5, this is a very typical move in this kind of a position. He added that it is only black. It is only good if black can maneuver a knight to c4 in this position. That's the primer or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Priome. In this case, it is very short range plan that lasts only until black can play his knight into c4. So remember, my chess crutcher team, it's not how big your plans are, it's that you just keep getting plans throughout the entire game and implementing your plans. Like an idea for black would be knight going to b6 into c4. Let's see how we're doing on time so I can see. Perfect. We probably could do maybe one more. Yeah, maybe one more. Yeah. And if he can't plug the C hole that with a piece white, and he can't stop our knight from getting to c4, his position's starting to teeter and almost collapse. Black will be clearly worse. He will find the backward. If black can't get a knight to c4, he'll be clearly worse because c6 will be a weakness for a rook to doubling rooks or tripling with a queen to target. He will find under fire, but yep, that's what we talked about. Yep. But in this case, black can get a knight to c5, so or c4, and be okay. Black can. Excuse me. Important move in the game played went queen to c2. A takes B first. We have to get pieces off, get the trades off. Then knight to D6. Exclam. See, if you were thinking this knight, the only problem with moving the B knight, it's actually a mistake because of one problem. You surrendered the E5 square. When you move the knight, there's always drawback to each move. When you move, it gives up squares. That gave up that, and so the knight was able to come in. Yes, you could kick it away, but then C6 becomes a target. So that's why knight to D6 was played here, and it's actually the best move. Because what you're wanting to do is implant that knight, and then what you later could do is kind of get the position nice by playing F6. And then after F6, that pawn will actually cover these 2 points. So the knight on D7 can actually move at that point. You can move a rook, move your knight in, and get it activated at that point. But our first and foremost importance of why we played C5 was to get a knight to C4. So we have to stick with our first plan and implement it to its fullest. Rook B3. Knight B6. Wow, he actually moved the knight. Interesting. Rook FC. So he's not really worried about that. He wants to get his knights to their most optimized positions, which would be a knight potentially there. And then maybe even trading off the knight on E5, and after pawn takes, queen takes, you pick up a pawn. That's interesting. And this knight potentially can go to A4, and if the knight on C takes on A4, rook could take A4, and then after all these trades, interesting to say the least. So knight to D3 was played. B to C, so C4. He was better. He was better. He went on to win the game. This is the section that we're going to be talking about right here. Counter. I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm going to spell it out for you. Some kinds of that. This word here are so sophisticated that they have inspired specific antidotes, a kind of counter. So this right here inspires a counter one of these. Hey, how you doing? Okay, if you have maybe a game, well, we can go over the game if you have one you want to go over. Well, I'll do my best to kind of help with that, you know. 1 second. I have to get a drink. Hold on. One second. Hold on. I'll be right back. Ah, okay. Let's do it. Let's do it to it. Okay. So, are you talking about E3? What's the how far did you go into it that you had a question about? Which spot on here? What move a number? Okay, you're black. Okay. So E4. That's actually that's the best move. E4 is. This cramps down on white's position. So I better turn the board so we can look at it from your perspective. So knight to d4 was the best move too, and then c5 best move. Still good so far. uh, Knight e2 is actually, oh wow, so white actually played the best move in that. An alternate move would be b3, but this type of a move here, b3, it's trying to provoke c4 so that white could come back to d4. So a good night. Hey, I'll see you. Good night. Be blessed. So this is kind of an interesting. Your d5 is an interesting move that could be played here. Yeah. So I'm thinking, yeah, d5 doesn't work. Actually, the pawn isn't hanging. The c pawn isn't hanging. If the knight were to take, you could actually take back. So there, g5. Huh. So you played g5 there. I'm surprised. D5 is actually the best continuation here. I know that knight potentially could go to f4 here, but remember, you're trying for space here. So you could even, if you wanted to, how crazy this sounds, put a bishop there, and then after knight takes, pawn takes, you've entered a closed position, which is slightly better for black. It's about an equal position, but it's a tiny bit better for black because you have knight outposts. It's a closed position. You have pretty good, and then you could castle. It's not bad. So I understand what your plan is. You want to stop the knight's play on coming into f4, but there's really no real worry about that. So d3, it's a good move, not the best move. See, even if let's say they played d here and then this happened, you in theory could take, and then they take, and then you can at this point develop your pieces around here and play something like that. So g5, d, good move, f. I still think that d5 is the best move here. I think d5 is the best move. So Knight bd3. Interesting. So they're saying knight bc3 here is actually the best move. So they're saying that takes is actually best here. Interesting. So you played the best move too. Takes. That's the best move. Excuse me. That's the best move so far, so good. That's a good move, but not the best move. D6. D5 was actually a more, if you're going to go for central control, you got to go all in. This is the only way to hold the position, the center, otherwise your center will collapse. Positional advantage, okay. Knight takes, knight takes. Okay, so that's why you did it, to play bishop to f5, the positional attack. Gotcha. I'm surprised your opponent didn't play bishop d3. This is actually the best continuation. And then if he if he plays there, you could take here. Queen takes, and I think you're not as good in this position. I'm surprised that your opponent retreated the knight back. That was a mistake. They call it an inaccurate move. I think it was slightly a mistake. I know he's trying to attack your bishop, but that's an excellent move. G6 is a really nice move. H4, again inaccurate. Yeah. White needs to get his bishop out and then castle. Otherwise, he's going to go down in flames. So you want a pawn. 92. Yeah, now the game's almost over. I'd almost say you're totally winning here. Positionally, you're totally won. Black's just hanging on. He's only developed one piece the entire game. Hasn't moved all. Total violation of basically the principles. You only violate principles if you could back it up with, as a lot of the grandmasters say, you have to back. Let's say the reason you could break the principles is if you could give a reason for it. I guess that's the best thing I'm trying to say. I think bishop f7 is not a bad move there. I think is it losing? That's losing? Oh, rook is best. Interested. Okay, rook f. Okay, and then queen f8. Then, oh, I see why. I see why. That makes sense, because bishop here, the queen could actually grab there. Yeah, ouch. That makes sense now. That too. Wow, that was a bad move. He should be worried about his king. He should play bishop here, or maybe maybe to save the game, maybe bishop there, and maybe after knight comes in, castle queenside. Just save. You know what? Just, I know you're winning, but this is actually at least an equal position. This move was way too aggressive in a almost lost position. Knight d7, the best move. Ooh, that was a blunder. Blunder alert, blunder, blunder, blunder. It's interesting, but the best move is it has a dual threat. There's one move that has a dual threat. Queen f6. What Queen f6 does, if the bishop tries to come up to d2, well, I guess that would be a game, set, and match. So if queen here, he's got to play f4 at that point. Wow. Yikes. Or maybe, yeah, ouch. I was looking at this move, but I didn't think it was the best move. That's the rook b is the best move, but then queen takes. Wow. Whoa. Yeah, that was another blunder. And then you were able to basically win in this position here with kaboom. Yeah, that was nice. And then bishop took, yeah. That was just that was shocking. There were 2 points, I think, at which your opponent could have saved themselves. Right here, even though they're in a bad predicament. This move here, not that move. Sorry, king there. I think bishop here, even if queen up here. Castle queen side, even if you're able to grab a pawn. I think black's still okay. I mean, white's still okay. Okay. Let's see how we're doing time. Yeah, I think tonight I'm gonna just call it a little bit early. As you can tell, my throat's a little. Oh, so that's a blunder. Wow. Yikes. Ouch. So first, basically that has to be played. Then after you win a. Oh. Wow. That is so strong. You're in such a winning position at this point. Wow. That's impressive. So congratulations on that game. That was a well played game. Well played. Well played. So I think I'm gonna call it on this right here. But thank you for the game. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Zell, thank you for that game. 41023. But I think we're gonna probably just call it on this here. But we need to do a quick before we go. Yeah, basically, you made these bishops so much more powerful. Your bishops were just so strong. It was incredible how powerful. It shows you how powerful 2 bishops can be with proper yeah. Oh, early on. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's after. Let me see here. Yeah. Yeah, your bishop went to f5. This right here. This is what we were talking about here. How the bishop gained in strength after this. Yeah. Oh, the e3 move. Okay. Oh, that's funny. But so what we have to remember is that we have to have a plan with when we do our games here, and we go over grandmaster games. They have plans, and like in this one here, we'll go back here. The idea was for to get the knight to c4, and that's what Kramnik implemented. And plans could just be maybe 3 to 4 move plans, but you have to have enough of them that you can out overwhelm your opponent. And then what'll happen is your opponent will start reacting, and when that happens, it goes to reactive chess. Oh, cool. Hey, keep up the good work, or you'll get better. Excuse me, I have to get a drink of water. But so just keep that in the forefront. That you have to learn your pawn structures, because I'm going to call it probably tonight. We have to learn your pawn structures. You have to have a plan, be able to implement it. Sometimes you have to, for a second, stop your opponent's plan, implement your plan, and keep your plan going. And then when it's you stop their plan, then you could start pushing yours. And that just comes with practice, being able to spot what your opponent wants to do, stopping your opponent's plan, and not reacting to it. Though don't react to it, because there's a difference between stopping it and reacting to it. So reacting to it would be doing what your opponent wants for their plan. Stopping it would be like moving a knight to stop their knight from being able to jump into an outpost. Or if you're able to you take a pawn, and that pawn then covers the square where it would be an outpost of your opponent's. That's different than just reacting, like playing a move just for playing a move purposes. That's considered hope chess, and I think it's Dan Heisman. I think maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. He did a French book, a book on the French defense, and he also did some really good chess. He's a national master, and he has some ones on ICC chess that were really interesting. And he's really well versed in the French defense. And the French defense, I know, isn't a favorable defense, and I'm gonna just leave it on this. That it's kind of very dry for black, but it gives you, if you're starting out, it gives you a foothold as a learner player, and then you can push back at the right moment. So it's really solid. If you're not a solid player, if you're more of an attacker, you're probably going to want to go more like Sicilian, and those type of sidelines. Maybe even a Scotch game may be up your alley. But if you're more solid, you want to keep and not, and then get to more of a middle game slash end game. The French defense is really good to master. Okay, I'll leave you with that. But remember, the master that we serve is the Lord Jesus, and I pray that you receive him as Lord and Savior of your life. And you know what? It's important that we decide what we're going to do with the Lord Jesus, because one day we all have to. Like in chess, there's 3 results. There's a win, a draw, and a loss. But in this scenario, there's only 2 choices. And that's just the fact of life. And that's why we have to always remember what Bruce Lee said about taking what you know, my friends, and being able to apply it, and then be willing to do something with it is important. And remember that plateaus are part of the learning process, but you should always keep pushing your boundary line to get to that next level, or to the next steps or plateau, and then just keep never being satisfied for second fiddle or second place, because in the SEALs they call it first loser. So just keep that in your forefront. But we have to treasure our victories and learn from our losses. Remember, the mistakes do not define you. It's how you handle the mistake that defines you as a chess player and a person in whatever field the Lord's called you into. And that's where the Chess Cruncher motto comes into play of hanging up your coats, hanging up your hats, sitting down and studying when most won't. Team Chess Cruncher does, and that makes all the difference. And as Wesley So says to the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless. And I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening. Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. We'll keep pushing forward. Excuse me, and hopefully my voice will be a little bit better and then I could go a tiny bit longer on our lessons. And so it's gonna have to bear with me a little bit. I'm getting over this cold slash whatever it is. But remember that Hannibal Smith said, even inside of a random position, there's always a plan. My friends, there is no randomness. There is no randomness. There's always a plan. And when you get to find it, and you get to kind of, as Josh Waisgood says, navigate through the black and white jungle of the chessboard, and you find that plan, you get to say, I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, 2 thumbs up, hoorah, be blessed. Study, have a great time, always improving, learning, and having fun. That's the whole thing. Okay, 2 thumbs up, go Team Chess Cruncher, hoorah, bye bye team, and I will see you tomorrow. 2 thumbs up.